kids ever be able to afford a home? Hi, it's Christina Jamison from the School of Home Ownership, and today I'll be discussing this very issue. In the previous generations, we had people that were just able to buy a home. My husband comes from a middle class family and they never had to worry about money. It always just was. So it was just like buying a TV, buying a property, it was just going to come. However, I came from a migrant family, which means they didn't have very much. So they were determined to have a home for stability, and they budgeted, sacrificed, and focused on what they needed to do to get a home for their family. What I'm finding is that because of that great culture that we had, that we could just have, that there is a real gap with a generation in that they can no longer do that. And we have to adjust as parents and be able to start explaining to our kids that, hey, you need to be financially savvy from a much younger age to be able to get that dream, to be able to have that security of owning a home. Some of the tips that we sort of need to look at is even from kids that are quite young. Start saving, start having a bank account, start looking at it, increasing it. Even simple things from a young age of when you go to a movie. What we used to do is, yes, we go to the movie, but what we found, as any parent would find, that if you go to the movies, your kids want everything that they see to take with them. It's totally normal. But what we started doing is saying, right, well, you have to budget that. We'll give you a set amount of money to actually contribute to that. I cannot tell you how creative they got and what ideas that they came up to do it. For example, saying, oh, well, I'm not going to buy stuff from there. I'm going to go down to Coles and I can get a bigger packet of chips for the same amount of money. I was actually quite surprised at how well and ingenious they became when they had to actually solve a problem. So these are the skills that we want to be able to have. After, there's now apps. So they should be able to have a look on their phone apps in their bank account if they're spending directly from the account, and it actually breaks into groups and categories, how much they're spending on finance or whatever. So they have some sort of idea. Whichever way they go, they need to be able to start automatically saving and putting money away for anything into a bank account, and preferably I would suggest a high interest saver. So what I'm saying now, that as parents, we've got to get in quicker and get these kids ready to get financial stability. It is much tougher now. Rent, once you start paying rent, you're really struggling to save. There needs to be creative ways. And like for an example, when people don't come up from a well enough family, they're not really going to be relying on their parents to give them that deposit or that extra help. But I've found some people, and I've heard of some people, and it's pretty inspirational, that there's two mates that actually said, well, we can't afford a house together, house separately, we'll buy a house together, and they rented it out while they still have that parents with the aim that, they're going to buy another house together, and then when they're ready, they'll actually move into their own houses. And I think that's amazing for a young age, and these kids are apprentices doing that sort of thing. So as parents, we need to encourage them to do it. And I have to say, I'm very, very conscious of gifting children really expensive stuff. They need to really start getting the concept of saving. And one of the biggest costs is cars, that I'm seeing parents giving away cars, and I'm saying be very careful what you do, and what you're training your kids with that is that you're always ready to get them out. Now, that's just a concept. I think your family and your family values, and I'm more than happy to help you. But, we've got to sort of work out systems like, for example, even having holidays. I think it's absolutely awesome to go on holidays. But at the same time, we also need to get them to put money away, so they're not sacrificing one for the other, and just getting to adjust so that, to be honest, they can keep traveling. If you love traveling, do it as you're older for longer. But just put some smart financial street smarts in there from the beginning so you don't miss out later on in the future. For more tips, go to schoolofhomeownership.com.au. Thank you.